Price stream, hold on.
14.
Thank you.
Alright, let me find out. Should I be on the YouTube? Testing. See if what is the name comes through now.
It don't sound too low or anything, right?
Nah.
Nah, you sound
It's
pretty good. I
still
sound
not.
good.
So,
I just want to make sure
so
this
no.
thing coming through clear on this on this YouTube.
Hey, restart. It probably gonna record this episode upstairs too, cause I'm going back downstairs.
Huh?
Oh shoot, I gotta go back downstairs. I left my iPad down there.
I think I come out. I don't think you're ready yet.
Oh yeah, you sound good. You coming through.
Alright, if we're ready, big man. Look, he here talking about we sound good. He ready to start.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so welcome back to the Anything Goes podcast number 11 after I don't know how long of a hiatus. I am King. I'm your host.
Last time recorded was last year.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a little last year, honestly. Yeah, I'm your host, King Darian, and I join with co-host, Mr. Cap Carter. How you doing, sir?
Well, we good. Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm good. And we're also joined by, I can't call this man a guest now, man. He's like a panel member, a co-host. I don't even think we got terminology is.
He's a regular, man.
It's just a regular.
He's a regular to the show. Mr. Teegue, how you doing, sir?
It's a man that. Hey, good man. It's just like one of them people that ain't necessarily an employee, right? But always saying on and helping with things.
Wow.
You know, you've got the people that's kind of shot. The shots are regularly, man. I say, look, listen, man, good know you back there. Gotta lift that crate in the back. There's one of them people there, you know, not much a regular.
Yeah. But, you know, he's been doing some things, you know, while we've been away. He's started his own podcast, and I must say, I do enjoy listening to it. And I mean, he put the picture up right here. It's called The Political Refugees. Do you might explain to people, Teague, you know, what your podcast is about?
Yeah, man. The entire point of the podcast surrounds the name, a refugee, but not an actual refugee, but a refugee in terms of ideology, because you know things are so polarized these days, where you have either the left or right, and almost every issue is left or right. But then there are individuals who are just somewhere in the middle who don't necessarily agree with the left, don't necessarily agree with the right, but in some way they're like, you know, they're just stuck in the middle with an opinion that doesn't fit. And this is where this is what this podcast is for. An individual who has an idea that doesn't necessarily fit with either side and want some place where they could have, you know, somebody who has a similar mindset. So I think I have that similar mindset. So I started that podcast for individuals like that.
Okay. And how many episodes do you have so far?
So far, about to upload an episode now, so it should be about five. And I'm gonna record the episode tonight to release today as well. So that's gonna be 6, and then another episode next week. So 6 episodes officially.
Oh my God.
So we just started. Only just started. We started January 30th. That was 31st actually. That would have been our first episode.
Right. And it comes out. What's the reschedule of the podcast?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday
we release an episode. Yeah, and then of course with the bonus episodes that I started, you guys would have heard a little bit of that one. That's gonna be any other day of the week, so it could be any day. Once I have time to record, I record and put it out there. Of course, on our social media, you'll be able to find out.
Yeah. Which door? No. Yeah. And for anyone wondering, I've included a link to the podcast below. So when you finish listening to the 18 Course podcast, you could slide right over to the Political Refugee podcast. And as I say, it's a very good podcast, well done. and I truly love what you're doing, Mr. Teegue. I'm happy to see that
Yeah.
you're expanding yourself and your reach, man. It's good to see.
Yeah, thanks a lot. In fact, it's this podcast that inspired me a little bit, so I gotta thank you for that. Just doing it, just getting out there and
As a
doing
humble dude,
something.
so I'll just say thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right, but we got to start some things off here. We got to start with the the lockdown in BIM. I'm sorry, the national pause. That was
Yeah.
that started off from technically December 31st, but has been gradually increased with the amount of restrictions put on the Barbadian population. I want to go to my boy Kev. What were your initial thoughts going into New Year? We're gonna go back there to come forward. When you heard that no New Year's parties and such, what was your initial reaction to that?
Obviously, the initial reaction would have been, one of alarming or being surprised at the situation. Um, 'Cause we accustomed to the old years, partying, have a good time. Some people, just watching fireworks. Some people go to church,
Mm-hmm.
during the New Year. So it was kind of alarming. Um, and then it brought a lot of things to light. The inverted commas super spreader, the incidents down in the West Coast, the in prison. Um, and it made you question a lot of things. Some things they won't say on the podcast, but it made you question a lot of stuff and how circumstances were handled. I could have avoided the whole situation to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then what really happened is that it caused a prolonging of the extension of the whole shutdown, pause, whatever you want to call it. Um, I just say having to go is like going forward and then going back, taking several steps, taking one step forward and two steps back continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
I think too, what it's really doing though is it had an impact on a lot of person's psyche.
Yeah,
Um,
we're going to get into that.
we get into that a little later. Um, but in all fairness, I would say I don't particularly how the situation was handled. I think it could be done better. I know it's easier for me to say it, because I'm not the one calling the shots, but I still believe that it really and truly could have been handled better. That's my take on it for now. I'll just leave it there for now.
All right, all right. I would jump in there. You know how I feel about the lockdowns. I thought we were before. I'll say November. I thought we were handling the situation pretty well. I was even making some suggestions. I think some more of the restrictions should have been lifted. Um, but heading into December, you got to hear murmurs of certain things occurring, certain people break track within the virus and such. But I was still hoping that we could make it into the new year, and I think people should be allowed to enjoy the new year. I know for some people it's a controversial take. I know some people are going to say that that would spread the event more, but I still think that was needed. Let people enjoy themselves at least into the new year. And I've also not been a fan of what we have called the curfews. Quite frankly, I don't think it's necessary. I think if you're telling us to social distance, you're telling us to wear the mask. I understand you shut down bars and nightclubs, but I don't get why the supermarket has to be shut so early. And said on the show numerous times, I've always said to me, I think supermarkets should open extended hours, hardware extended hours, pharmacies extended hours, so to avoid the clusters of people storming into the supermarket. And we've seen clusters of people gathering outside supermarkets. Now we have a weekend curfew. We can't go outside on the weekend. And it's something that I totally disagree on. We're free to disagree or not, but I'm not a big fan of the curfew. and I think it's also draining mental health of people in Barbados. And as you said, we discussed that a little later. But Mr. Teague, man, what's your opinion on the whole lockdown situation, man? Do you think it was handled well? Do you like me? You against the curfew for the curfew? What's your thoughts, man?
Um, I think that the what me and Motley is doing right now is a bit too soft. In that you're either gonna have a lockdown or you're not. That's how I see it. The half a lockdown that you're having, or people could go to a certain time, and people could be on the road at a certain time. People are not gonna take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you see individuals on the road exercising outside of the allotted times. But how you can stop that person that exercising? They could be running towards they could be jogging towards the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
For example, how you know that they're jogging towards the supermarket or going to their doctor
Mm-hmm.
or something like that? You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to hold them on that. So all of these rules that you have makes it difficult. And what it allows is for individuals to go about the place and spread.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to have another half-hearted lockdown. No, if you're locking down, lockdown. You don't lock down your house and leave the back door open and say, well, uh, this body could come through the back door if there ain't a thief. But a thief can come through the back door, if you know what I mean. Once you leave an avenue for people to break rules, people can break rules. And I think that you need a shutdown for that. Outside of that, I agree with your points. I was fully against the alphabet system. And I don't understand why people close it early. No, even after the lockdown was lifted last year, a lot of people were still closing
Mm-hmm.
early. And of course you had a lot of people bunching up, especially around Christmas time. A lot of people bunching up. So to me, the solution, especially around these times, open a little bit later, allow these people to get home. But that's before you have a lockdown. Before you have a lockdown, if you're opening up till 9 o'clock, open up till 9 o'clock, let people do all the rushing that they want to do. And then during those lockdown times, you need to close off a lot of those areas that would vectors for spreading the disease: supermarkets, hardware stores, the van stand. You know what I mean? All those places where people can congregate. And to me, when you reopen as well, you need restrictions like you can't party.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't have been a bus crawl, if you get what I mean. Like we had a bus crawl, but there shouldn't have been a bus crawl. There shouldn't be tourists coming down on the beach and interacting with locals. There shouldn't have been any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just because, and this is something that I think is important as well, just because COVID may not be about here, it does not mean that COVID still isn't a threat. And we gotta operate at all times as if COVID is a threat. Even if we at that point we ain't had no COVID and it was just the tourists, it's a threat. If you get what I mean. So that's just my view on all of it.
Right, right, right. We want to get into like the mental health impact on the people within the country. You know, we're seeing people online crying out. We had some persons who unfortunately took their lives in the last couple of days, and it has a lot of people questioning: should we, you know, take the risk and open back and let people interact, or is it that is that's the price for the trying to get rid of the virus in Barbados? Um, Personally, man, I think you need some form of social interaction. Even a guy like myself, I stick to myself. I'm a very quiet dude. I kind of feel a way that I can't go and shock nobody. To go to the beach, you got to be from 6 to 9 is a little limited. And I'm wondering, man, especially now with the vaccine here, and then we get into that later, if you believe in it or not. I think you need some form of social interaction should be allowed, even if you allow, I don't know, 4 people to gather together or something. I think for the mental health for the Barbadian population, you need some form of social interaction to happen because we're seeing people losing it. People legit crying on Facebook and Instagram. So I wonder to Kev, man, Kev, what's your opinion, man? What do you think we should do? You think that
And like,
we
yeah,
should got locked down? Look, this if imagine whole window that the price for like price of us getting back better, or I think look, we might have to do COVID a little bit longer. But at the same time, we need people to have that social interaction. So when things are over,
mhm,
people still have their mental sanity.
Yeah, I love what you just said though. The main logic behind what I said, I love what you just said, because for example, they're saying that you can be with relatives, but you can't socialize with friends. It's like, what's the validity of you knowing that your relatives are COVID negative? It's not. It's like the same way how you would assume that your relatives are negative, then that same sort of assumption with friends. Like for example, too, I was reading this thread. I don't know if the person was joking or what, but what happened is they were dropping this person to work, right? And then the police stopped them, and you know what? He would have just said, you know what? This is my boyfriend that I drop into work, because what the government is saying is that, oh, once you live with the person or whatever, then it's okay. So he come up with this, like, I mean, it's like saying, what the whole validity of the whole system is, like, a lot of people could probably beat the system too.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe though that there should be some sort of system put in place where you can say you still get to spend time with your friends, or people who you close to, because socialization is very important. Human beings, we all love to socialize. Um, Personally, I don't mind being alone at times,
Mm-hmm.
but some people don't have a grasp that ability to learn to love to be alone. So I mean, we saw two allegedly suicide deaths last week. Allegedly, because we don't know for sure. But I think some people are sometimes afraid to be alone with their own thoughts. So I think they're forgetting how important socialization is. So if they could implement some sort of system, whereas I think they're being a bit too strict with the measures, because it's only recently known that the cases are actually going down, and they would have implemented these measures basically practically most of the year. So it's like, how effective is this really? Is this national pause, inverted commas, the series of events of having to lock down? How effective is it really? So that's the points that I would make on the matter.
All right. Mr. Teague, man, what's your opinion? Do you think that we should allow some form of social interaction with friends, or hey, the price we gotta pay?
I think that mental health is really important because for the most part, there's so many individuals who they just want to get out of the situation. That's why you have so many people like up in the supermarkets. Like you see some people just go in the supermarket. They go in the supermarket and buy a pack of soda bits and a chubby,
Mm-hmm.
and like you, it's easy to look at that and get angry. Like even I myself get a little bit angry. Like why you going in the supermarket, clogging up the line for that? But we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what their whole situation is. That person could be getting abused at home.
Right.
If you get what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That person may have a mother that always breathing down the neck, but the mother breathing down their neck,
Mm-hmm.
but they're stressing as well. The mother stressing as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so many things. There's so many things to this. Social interaction is important, but the thing about it is that I think we gotta find a way around. We gotta find a way to do this. Maybe if we do it online or something like that, but we still gotta find a way to reduce the spread
Mm-hmm.
for the time being. So I don't think the solution is just like going outside
Mm-hmm.
and getting a thing, but you gotta find some sort of solution. And to be what's important to know as well is that lockdowns ain't gonna always work. Lockdowns ain't the solution for everything, and this is one of the reasons why. Because eventually people can get tired of locking down. Some people can kill themselves, and then some people can go outside. Like I don't know if you guys see the party that they had down Nelson Street, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
they had a
Yeah.
big party down Nelson Street.
Mm-hmm.
That's
All sorts
straight.
of men outside. Yeah, a big party, a whole set of cars, people doing the thing, and that's what can happen. People can get tired of it,
Right.
and the outlets ain't gonna necessarily be a nice outlet. It may be them killing themselves for some, like the fella that hang himself the other day,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mhm.
it could be out Nelson Street partying, or Checker Hall, because they here had another party out Checker Hall. Yeah, but that's just how it is, man. But there gotta be some sort of solution. But this is uncharted waters that we in.
Mhm.
So maybe we could take some time to try to figure out, interact with the people and figure out exactly what's the best route.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was supposed to look this article, and it was saying that back in the United Kingdom in Bournemouth, it was called. People
Mm.
said the people were gathering at the beach, and people said it was a terrible idea. But they said a sage scientist has said that very little cases had been spread during that incident. So I was wondering if more outdoorsy environments may be a better way of letting people interact rather than like open up a shopping center or a club or whatever. I think we can all agree that those things are the best idea, but maybe doing something in the park. Obviously, you limit your numbers, but you still let people to be outside and let them interact with each other, and people having a little bit of fun too. Because I think a lot of people are drained and people are hurting financially as well. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. You don't know if people are even doing these things because they don't have the finances. I know Bajans are very pro people, so you don't want to beg. So
Yes.
yeah, man, so we're moving right along, man. We're gonna talk about
Yeah, yeah.
the jab. You know, there's been a COVID vaccine rollout in Barbados with the Oxford. How do you this thing, man? Wait, isn't it Oxford with them?
Uh, uh,
AstraZeneca?
uh, Oxford, Oxford,
AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca.
For
AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
From India, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Teegue, what you break this down for me? What was this in the Caribbean? There's a big noise, man. There's some people saying it was sent for them. Some people said that it was given to them. What was the whole noise, man? What really going on here, man?
It was a funny situation. I wasn't even following it. I just happened to pull it out on Twitter. I was like, "What? All of this meant no?" While I
Mm,
was in my bed sleeping.
mm,
Um, so India donated vaccines to Barbados,
mm,
like 100,000 vaccines, 100,000 doses, or something like that.
mm,
Barbados then took 2,000 of those and sent them across to Trinidad as a gift.
mm,
Uh, I think the Minister of Health in Trinidad, he said, "Hey man, that wasn't a gift,"
mm,
because he was being asked about it. He said it wasn't a gift from Barbados. Barbados was the main distribution center. They were given to Barbados by India to distribute throughout the Caribbean.
mm,
Of course, that was not the truth, and a statement had to be put out, and he had to correct himself. So Barbadians were, of course, upset because he didn't come out publicly. It was just a statement. So
mm.
he said what he said publicly, and then he just put a little statement, and of course that statement probably flew under the radar, because I know you guys probably know about that controversy, but I ain't sure if you know about the statement that would have been put out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh, oh God.
Yes. So, talking about that, man, how do y'all guys feel about the vaccine roller? And I want to ask a question. On social media, there's been a lot of debate. What will it call the pro-COVID, I don't know, vaxxers versus the anti-COVID vaxxers, because I don't use the term anti-vaxxers because there's certain persons that they now have a problem with vaccinations, but they're just like, yo, we ain't messing with this one. The rest of them that you got some getting fine. This one, we ain't too sure. So I would say, so I use the prefix of COVID. What do you think is causing the divide between the persons who believe that you should be vaccinated and those persons who believe we shouldn't have the vaccine? And we also had a discussion between a famous, well, I don't know if it's famous, but a Barbadian radio host and the Rastafarian community got into a bit of a controversy. But I'll go with Kev. Kev, we think it's causing the divide of the pro-COVID vaxxers versus the anti-COVID vaxxers, man. We think it's causing the divide.
Honestly, I'll start by saying that the media is painting a lot of different pictures with the vaccine. Obviously, inverted commerce, the experts, the doctors and medical practitioners, and scientists. Obviously, they're going to lead towards saying, "Oh, the vaccine works, it's healthy."
Mm,
But you're seeing a lot of reports saying too, people complaining about headaches, pain.
mm,
There were even some videos being shared saying that one or two people took the vaccine and ended up dying. You're seeing reports from Norway. Can't remember, six or eight people or something like that. So I think it's perception. It depends too on the media.
mm,
What the media is portraying negative and positive stuff about it. So I think it just creating a whole notion of uncertainty in most people.
mm,
So you're gonna see some people saying, "Oh, I'll take it that I'm for it," and then you're gonna see some people saying, "You know what? I don't think it's such a good thing to take this. I'm not too sure if it's gonna work, the validity of it, such and such." I think too it comes down to perspective in terms of whereas some people are saying that it should be a personal choice, and then some people feel like it's being forced on them by government.
right.
So I think that that's really what's going on right now. Yeah.
All right. I'll give my little opinion here. I think one of the biggest divides is, like you said, is the media. I think the media is portraying the persons who are hesitant against the vaccine
Mm-hmm.
as quote unquote conspiracy theorists, um, childish, immature, selfish, and I don't think that's the way you should reach out to people. Like I think the media should have a level of understanding of why certain people don't want the vaccine. As I said, a lot of people are concerned about the timing. Some people are like, "Whoa, this thing is going a bit fast. There were no animal trials. There's no long-term testing." Some person said they're working on a SARS vaccine, SARS, which is similar to coronavirus, for 10 years. But I don't think the AstraZeneca and the Pfizer and those are exactly that same vaccination. I could be wrong. I will let T clarify that if I'm wrong. But that I think that's causing a lot of hesitancy in people. And I think the persons who are pro-vaccine, I've seen a lot of them online being so harsh on the persons who are just scared. You know, some people they're just simply scared. They're not wacko conspiracy theorists. They're just simply afraid. They don't want to lose their life. They want they have their families to take care of, and they want to make sure that nothing goes wrong if they do receive the vaccine. And I'm not talking about dropping down dead in 2 days. They're talking about 5, 10 years from now. What if it could cause another illness down the road? And me personally, I'm never against persons being cautious, and but I'm also against the anti-COVID vaxxers who think the persons who want to receive the vaccine are also stupid. They're also seeing that too. They're saying people saying they're dumb, they don't think for themselves. I think there are also people getting the vaccine who are also scared themselves of dying from COVID, of passing on to someone in their family who may be sick. So I think there's both fear on both sides of the spectrum. And what I think we need to do is accept a level of tolerance. If I believe if you don't want the vaccine, it's up to you. It's your personal choice. I don't believe there should be a health passport to get on the plane and fly. If they implement that, I think we should all riot, shut it down. But I think if you don't want the vaccine, I avoid you. I just said try to social distance, you know, try to boost the immune system, try to do things not to spread COVID. And if you're pro-vaccine, go ahead, but don't want to shut out those persons in society who do not want the vaccine. Whether it's for religious purposes, whether because they are scared, maybe because they just don't trust Billy Gates. I mean, he looks scary to me. So I think we have to have a level of tolerance in society, man. And I'm seeing a lot of back and forth and banter and stuff that if it was any other topic, we won't be having these discussions, man. So Teague, man, what's your opinion on the vaccine and the what we said beef between the pro-COVID vaccines and the anti-COVID vaccines?
Um, there's actually a lot to say. Uh, this could be a 2 hour podcast talking about vaccines.
That's true.
Believe it or not,
Yeah.
because there's so much to say. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of points that would have been made for you guys. I agree with that. One thing is that just because you're skeptical of this vaccination in particular, it does not mean that you are anti-vax. I think that's something that's really, really important to highlight. because a lot of the people, when you sit down and listen to some of them talk, is like they're not saying, "Man, they got a strong immune system. I ain't need a vaccine," or they're saying that there's a rasta, so we don't take vaccines or anything. They're saying, "Well, this vaccine, I read up on it, and I ain't 100%. I ain't 100% impressed by this vaccine." The people that are saying that, and rightly so, because if you read up on the vaccine, um, the vaccine is in phase 3 of testing still. I mean, a lot of these vaccines still are the most popular one, the Pfizer vaccine, but at least there's some conclusive evidence on the Pfizer vaccine. This vaccine, if you read the results from the test, and this was up to 2 weeks ago, a week or 2 weeks ago. Of course, that's a long time, but still, if you read what was going on, these people weren't 100% sure. They weren't 100% sure if the vaccine would prevent COVID. They're not 100% sure if the vaccine, if you catch COVID, if you're gonna if you're gonna die. All these things, all it knows is that it reduces the chances of you catching COVID again or catching COVID at all, and it reduces those chances of you dying a horrible death. And that's all they know about this vaccine in particular. There's no the evidence out there is not conclusive. There are not enough individuals who would have taken the vaccine for them to say, "Hey, we are 100% sure, or 95% sure, or some amounts of percent sure that this is what the vaccine does." And I know that some people would have read up on it because the information is right there. That's a New York Times article. There's individuals you could go and read. They would have read it on that, and they would have been skeptical. But it does not mean that they're anti-vax or cuckoo conspiracy theorists. But with that being said, they still think that there is a part of it where COVID 19 COVID-19 is a threat to all of us. And seeing that is a threat to all of us, it is to me is something that requires like a collective action for all of us. Everybody gotta play the part.
Correct.
And taking a vaccine, in my eyes, is you play your part in trying to deal with COVID. Because what COVID has shown us so far is that you may not die from it, I may not die from it, but somebody else may die from it. I may go and get to somebody, like I may have got it, I may get through fine, but I may kind of get to you RF, and then you realize, wait, you had hypertension all this time,
Right.
you don't know, and then you gonna dead,
Right.
or you gonna bring it home and you bring it home to your mother now, but your mother, of course, older. How she got hypertension or diabetes or whatever, but she would be in that age range where people are dying, and then you bring it home to your mother now, you sick, she sick, and then she died, and that would have been because of me. I live and they go on about with business. You live and you go on about your business, but your mother died. So some people that live home with their grandmother. So sometimes the COVID, you may take that COVID and you may spread it to somebody else. And to me, all of those things suggest that we need a collective effort on COVID. So if you don't want to take the vaccine, there's this one question to me that's important. What do you want to? What can you do to curb the spread of COVID? Because all they're hearing is people don't want to go outside, people got mental health issues, people don't want to take the vaccine, people want to go up on a bus crawl, all them different things. I got to get out to party and all that. But what are you doing to curb the spread? Or what are you willing to do? I think that's the most important part, most important question. So I will leave it there.
Yeah, and that's a very valid question too, because as you are currently looking at, we received, like you said, about 100,000 doses we have donated some to other countries. With the current vaccines that we have to get 2 doses, so that's 50,000. Let's call it 50,000. You're still left
Yeah.
with 250,000 Barbadians who will not be vaccinated, regardless if they want it or not. Should we be looking at something that we can do in the meantime to eliminate the spread of COVID? And look, I don't care if you're drinking bush tea, I don't care if you're wearing a mask, I don't know. But to me, we have to look at something that we can do to eliminate the spread of COVID. If you're saying the negative impacts of mental health of being locked up inside the house all the time, if we do not have enough people receiving the vaccine, whether it's from due to hesitancy whether it's due to just not having it at all, what then do we do to stop the spread? I mean, we're wearing the mask right now, but we're still seeing that the case is still spreading. So, is there anything that we could do? This is to anybody. Kev, T. I don't know my live chat, man, but it's to anybody.
Man, I mean, there's a lot. One, taking the vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
you can, but if you're skeptical about this one, and you want to wait until the Pfizer vaccine, I don't blame you. But in the meantime, what we know so far is that you should mask up, you should sanitize, and you should social distance.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as possible, try and mask up. As much as possible, try and sanitize, and try social distance. Keep away from people. It may even come down for you keeping away from your friends.
Mm-hmm.
If you get what I mean.
Right.
Like keep it away from people. Like there's lots of people that I see in a while. I see Sequel in a while though.
Yeah.
And Sequel live I can stand up and look at Sequel house. But Sequel ain't know where I went, I ain't know where Sequel went.
Yeah, you
So
don't.
as close as we may live to each other, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like I can't interact with you in the way that I would like. I can't go out with the fellas and gotta eat sand, drink something, you know what I mean? Gotta have a line, play some domino. You can't do that. And you gotta understand that so long as COVID is a threat, there's something that you must do. So if it ain't vaccination, it gotta be social distancing and all that other thing. And even after you receive vaccination, there's something that's important. You still need to wear a mask. You still need to social distance
But I want to
because these
I want to
vaccines,
about that idea, so because there's
yeah,
a lot of
100%.
confusion
Yeah.
about that idea. So there are people saying, "Yo, if we gotta get the vaccine, then we still can go." You know what I'm saying? So if you can, you might explain that to the people, man. So what if me, you, and Kev get the vaccine, we still gotta wear masks? Is it that because you're not too sure how things are going to react, or if, or what's the cause for that? What's the cause?
Well, for the most part with these vaccines, all these vaccines do for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that they know for sure, basically, is that this vaccine can reduce the possibility of you dying.
So this is going to prevent you from dying from
Basically,
COVID first. So that's what the vaccine is.
it's exactly. So when you get that jab,
Mm-hmm.
it's so you can still catch COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but now your body knows how to properly fight off COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the vaccines work. And
Mhm.
like a case where you immune from COVID. Because some vaccines they will inject you with a weakened form of the
Right.
virus.
Right.
And then your body fights it off. But then the next time you will build up that immunity. In
Mm-hmm.
some cases with these vaccines, you ain't gonna necessarily build up that immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people might not.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, you still have to wear a mask. I think Dr. Fauci explained it well when he says that it's still the virus can still be up in your nasopharynx because that's where they test, where they be checking up inside your nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well in China, there's don't check it out your nose.
Yo,
I don't know if
yo, yo,
you
yo,
guys know.
that's instant. Yo, yo, we get into that, but yo, no, like I was,
There's one check it out in other areas.
yeah, yeah,
What?
look,
What?
yeah, I was listening to, I mean, I listen to everybody, and I got a guy. I don't want to say he's a conspiracy dude because he does sound work that is pretty good, but he doesn't follow the mainstream narrative, and he made a joint control. Okay, start testing up here that area, and then next day they do story tour. I don't know if he had connections or not, but
Hmm.
all right,
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, that's
but
crazy.
but that's it. That's it. So because it's still as Dr. Fauci said, it's still in nasopharynx. So you can still spread COVID. So you may not have COVID. You may not have COVID to a point that you're like experiencing symptoms
Mm-hmm.
of COVID, but you still have it in your system. So I don't know if you got like some. I know there are some sicknesses that even after you get better, you still have to stay away from people because that sickness is still in your body.
Uh-huh.
That's how I think of it when he explained it. So
I, I,
it's
I,
still about the place. You can still get other people sick. So wear your mask, sanitize, because you can still spread it.
before we move on, I want to ask: do you think there ever come a time when people just say, we can live with it? Like how we live with the flu, we live with dengue. You think there will ever come a time when people say, look, just let me live with it? The chances of it get back better are pretty good. Let me say we take a chance. Do you see that happening in the near future? I'll go to Kev.
I don't think I can't see it happening now in Barbados though.
Yeah.
Um,
So
maybe
Kev, come on. I mean, these people are going to the beach and drinking rum when COVID is going on. I think Bajans are very relaxed people. But go ahead.
you
Finish your thought.
relax. What I mean, it turned. What I mean to say was many things in the government.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think
yeah, that's
the
controversial.
government will ever, how they are about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but probably the citizens will probably develop that certain mentality, but not the government.
All right.
So yeah,
And take your thoughts. Do you think we just get one day and people say, like COVID, like the flu, like pneumonia, like dengue, you just live with it?
But that's the thing. I think that's what's happening now
Mm-hmm.
because COVID happened to come. COVID happened to come at one of the worst times. It came during the election year in the US,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you guys watched CNN before and after Trump got put out of office.
You,
little bit.
Before,
you're really a news media man, but I dabble in and out.
yeah, but if you see CNN before while Trump was in office, you would have seen that there was a death ticker at the side. How many people dying from COVID,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
and just the plain numbers.
Mm.
I'm quite sure you would remember that.
Like they do.
Every time you watch CNN,
Yeah, yeah.
these people, these people die from COVID, all of that. What CNN didn't tell you is that for the most part, that you have to break those things down by age.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have 20,000 people die in the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those maybe 20,000 old people,
Mm-hmm.
and only 5,000 people were young, if you get what I mean.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And then those people have pre-existing conditions. So all of those things come into play. But because of that, what's happening now is that people are realizing that COVID is not as significant as a threat as the media made it out to be. It's like, well, I could continue living my life for the most part, and I may not die from this. For the
Mm-hmm.
time people recognize that, you know what can happen. Because right now, for the most part, people are reacting because they are fearful
Mm-hmm.
of COVID-19. Man, this thing could kill me. But
Mm-hmm.
once people realize that it can't kill you,
Mm-hmm.
man, you ain't gonna run for it. I'm quite sure that lots of people, if a pit bull was in the area and he big and all he moat, or dribble running down for you, you will run for it. But you will run from one of them little or one of them little pot starvers be, or you even if a dog hungry, you can be thinking about let me feed it, no, let me run from it.
Yeah,
If you
correct.
get what I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't see it as a threat.
Right.
So long as you don't see it as a threat,
Mm-hmm.
you know what can happen.
Yeah, people can stop caring.
People ain't gonna think.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, like people in our age group
Mm-hmm.
right now,
Yeah.
I don't have the statistics on me right now, but for off of the top of my head, like the chances are of us dying from COVID-19 is similar to that of the flu.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fairly low,
Mm-hmm.
as you can tell. Of course, when you go up in age group now, then of course you're gonna realize, hey man, this body could die. But
Mm-hmm.
still, like once you break those things down, so what was happening in the US now,
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about infections because I'm quite sure you would have heard a lot
Yeah, the
about
infection numbers are pretty
infection.
right. Yeah.
The infection, but how many of those individuals died? So a lot of people catching COVID and recovering from COVID, even in Barbados, how
Yeah.
many people died from COVID?
Twenty
We
something
got like
percent.
a good stuff of 2,000-3,000 people that would have been affected by COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but but close to 1,000 and some hit recoveries right now, right?
Yeah, correct.
So so it's like it's like COVID ain't really killing off the amount of people that they say that it's killing off. And as soon as people know that Biden in and know they have to talk honestly about COVID, people gonna realize that yo, man, this ain't that serious. We ain't get dead from this, eh? People can start shifting into more living more normally now.
Yeah, in terms of Barbados, they currently said there are 2,700 cases, 1,914 recovered, 31 deaths.
Yeah. Only one of them was a child, I believe. One of
Yeah,
them was a
Yeah,
9-year-old.
9 year old. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
and we all know too, people in Barbados ducking the COVID test. So we don't know how many people like
Yep.
truly got COVID in Barbados. There's a lot of people ducking these tests.
hmm.
Well, not as of recently. A lot of people wanted to get tested after the whole bus crawl situation.
But the number's still pretty low, though, if you get what we're trying to say.
A lot of people that didn't get
Yeah.
tested, guilty. A lot, a lot. See,
Yeah, man. So you got less than you got 0.1 chance of dying. So I think a lot of people are beginning to see it. That bad.
Yeah,
yeah.
people
Because
see it.
I've known multiple people that have COVID and all recovered. I didn't even know what a gentleman in his 80s that have COVID and recovered. So I think a lot of people are
It's,
going to go down that road.
yeah,
So
precisely.
With the vaccines, no, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
The
Yeah, for
chances are
sure.
far higher.
yeah,
Yep.
Chances are far higher recovery. You're not gonna die next week.
yeah.
You're not gonna. So it still is a threat, obviously, but to me, no, I think we're at a stage where we know how to treat COVID properly.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to, and we know have a vaccine.
Right.
So to me, take the vaccine. That's what I see it.
All right. So
Take the
you,
vaccine.
so you for a vaccine, Kev? What your opinion is, Kev? You for a vaccine or we head out?
Wait it up.
Kev, I put it wait it out.
Wait it up.
Oh, wait it out. Wait it
Yeah.
out. How?
As in
Ellie,
hopefully
that's
hopefully
better than this.
disappear. COVID gone and you can't get chopped.
I don't take that half of it. You
Teegue,
want to know? You want to know what can help with them? So test them, man.
Oh, stop it!
Say, listen,
All right.
anybody,
Teegue.
anybody, and anybody that don't want to get the job, can get the job somewhere else. That's how we doing it.
I put it in my cheek. They can test your cheek to be good. But
No, we
So,
don't. No,
are you trying to say the testing in your bottom? People can say, look, listen, just give me the COVID-19 vaccine. This, so look, just stick me in my arm.
we think you are on the military, they tear the shit. But anyway, our final thought for tonight. We got to talk about the terrible, weather situation in Texas, man. These people
Yeah.
experience temperatures as low as -10 Celsius. We don't deal with Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, that's garbage measurements. And I apologize to my American viewers. In a place that UG is around at this time of the year, around like 10 degrees Celsius. So that is a massive drop. That's a 20 degrees Celsius drop in temperatures. So, man, I got a picture. Let me show you that. Blanketed in snow. And our good friend, Mr. Ted Cruz, that's him right here. He decided in the midst of all of this to run to Cancun. There's a picture of him there, he got his Lone Star State mask. He's coming through the airport. And we also had Mr. Gary Gates, House Representative, I believe that is, took a trip to Florida. So let's talk about the weather situation, And I'm gonna start with Mr. Teegue on this one. What's your thoughts on the whole weather situation down in Houston, man? We had about 20 people deaths, but a lot of property damage, roofs giving in, pipes bursting because they're not accustomed to the cold weather. Run on in the supermarkets. And I'm worried with these numbers. I think a lot of homeless people, may not have been reporting these numbers as well. And I think we have to take those people into account. We just can't leave them alone. So, what's your whole thoughts on the whole situation, man?
Well, a couple of things because I would have covered it in the episode of my podcast that you guys probably would have listened to, but I covered it at the very end because a lot of people are saying that this is global warming. Um, and this is climate change, of course, that's causing this. Of course, what's crazy about this is that these numbers are are pretty much not out of the usual in terms of temperature changes. They're not out of the usual. So I wouldn't say that there's a huge climate change issue, but this is an issue about energy. This definitely is
Alright,
an issue
let
about
me clarify
energy.
feel. So you're not worried about the actual weather. You're more worried about the energy crisis that happened in Texas. That's what you're more worried about.
Yeah, basically, what's most important, and not to try to derail the things about into climate change, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the because I guess if you listen to part of my podcast, you would have seen that or heard really that I was talking about climate alarmism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, you hear all the time, hey, in the next 10 years, um, or in the next 12 years, they say in the next 9 years, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have
Right, so
we're
keep,
gonna
keep
have
not,
all
yo,
of these changes.
not cut, the current temperature in Houston is 20 degrees Celsius, and you went up to
Oh,
minus.
that isn't bad.
Yeah, and went up to minus
It
10. So I was just saying that is a big shift, but I just
it is a big
but
shift.
you're more the energy at the front. So finish your point. Finish your point.
Yeah. So as I was as I was saying, oh gosh, I lose track of what I was talking about. Um, yeah. For I was talking about climate alarmism, and the thing about it is that people don't accommodate because you hear all of these things. People are gonna die in this amount of time. People don't accommodate for the fact that human beings can adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So if like for example, it's gotten a bit hotter in Barbados. More people have gotten air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
More people put in an extra window in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Made little renovations to the household to make things cooler.
Mm-hmm.
People will buy an extra fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you get what I mean.
Right.
We have adapted. I think without power,
Mm-hmm.
it really affected individuals' ability to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened. So of course, no, I don't think that this will catch people by surprise again because of course people are gonna start to deal with their houses in such a way
Mm-hmm.
that they're gonna not have the issues that they would have had before. So people will adapt to this. I think that's what's most important. But of course, there is a power crisis out there. I haven't followed it. I don't know if you guys have followed it, but there is a power crisis. People are talking about the green energy that they've used, which is another climate point. But of course, green energy isn't as efficient when it comes to dealing with these things. But of course, people are saying, hey, this is not green energy's fault. This is the fault of the traditional energy. Because I think they have nuclear out there as well.
Nuclear, natural
The
gas, and the
nuclear and natural gas, those plants give
trouble.
trouble.
Right.
So yeah, so this is they had trouble with some of the equipment. But I guess this is something that will probably catch anybody off guard. If Barbados was to have a snowstorm, I'm quite sure that we will have a power outage for later, Paul, for sure.
Yeah. And plus, the lines in the customer holding snow anyhow, so that caused a lot of problems as well.
Exactly, a lot of problems. So that would be something that if something like that was to happen to us, then of course we wouldn't be able to deal with it immediately. But of course, looking at that, we
Mm-hmm.
could adapt. We could look at those situations and maybe build, when we upgrade our power, have a hybrid system
Mm-hmm.
so that it could deal with hot or cold. So these are things that we could adapt to. So I would just leave it on that.
All
Mm.
right. And Kev, what's your position, man?
Yeah, man. But, this is more be all guys' expertise, to be honest. But what I would say though is that situation. I find global warming does play a part though, and I know you. Before your podcast had started, you was talking about the conspiracy of
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
saying about manipulating the
Uh-huh.
weather, or you was talking about what was you was talking about again, Arthur? No, you was
Now, I was saying some people are making a suggestion that they turn on the weather machine. They turn on this baby here.
hmm.
This baby you call her. But what you don't shut me down. No, but a lot of people are saying
That
it look a little suspect. So people are saying they turn on the weather machine and the reports of the snow being able to burn and all kind of crazy stuff. But
mm. Man, this is more y'all guys' area, man. I really haven't followed up on it too as much, so I'm not really gonna be one of those guys to act like I know about it when they don't really. So yeah.
all right, this is how we're looking at it. I kind of fatigue on this one. I understand people wanting to protect the environment and stuff, but as Teague said, I think humans are very adaptable, and I don't want to really climate change road, but I think a lot of people are proposing such drastic measures that are so expensive that
Yeah.
I don't know if spending all this money on this thing that we are still having debates on whether if this is totally man-made or if it's just an earthly cycle. It's something that we should focus all this effort on. Like we have those persons saying that the earth will end in 12 years. I honestly, I think that's honestly some fear mongering in my opinion. You could feel free to
Yeah,
disagree or
it
not. I
is.
just think it's blatant fear mongering. We were supposed to run out oil before I was born, and 26 later we still have oil. We still got V8 cars, and I hope that in the next 26 years we still got V8 cars because we need to keep them alive as far as I'm concerned. But um, I still think as we go along, we're seeing improvements. We're seeing more efficient houses being built with energy saving windows. We're seeing, as you said, air conditioning, doors being more efficient, which causes us to use less electricity. We're seeing guys doing the electric cars. We're guys seeing making fuel from the air. It's a lot of tech that I think that is much more affordable that we could push forward and that is much better for the environment than trying to rebuild an entire system. If you want to get an electric car, that's fine, but can we really strip out the entire grid to make everyone have an electric car? I don't know if that's feasible. Um, can everyone afford to have a solar panel on their roof? I do not know. Can we get rid of all the coal and natural gas plants and replace them with ours use? We use just traditional oil or whatever. Or replace it with wind and solar.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm not saying that we should make improvements. I think we should, but I don't know if that's the right focus that we should go down on. I still see a lot more things being done with. If we're going to spend money on mental health, on the economy, I think we need to. I'm going to say the economy. I don't mean trickle down economics. I actually mean looking at the people at the bottom and getting them to move up the social economic ladder. I think that's something that really needs to be studied. And
Yeah,
I
agree.
don't know if it's Texas situation. Man. I never joke about the weather machine and stuff, but can it just be one of freak occurrence of nature, and then we then look at it and say, hey, this happened. Then we go and spend a whole bunch of money, and then nothing happens for another 20, 30 years. I think we have to analyze the situation and then move forward. But what I am really angry with is these two gentlemen on screen, Ted Cruz and Gary Gates. How in a crisis like this you could pack up and leave your state when your people needed you the most? That is the real concern for me. Not AOC and her climate policy, not the natural gas dude, not ExxonMobil. It's these two jokers. You are put in by your people to represent their issues, and you run off to Florida, Mr. Gary Gates, and you, Mr. Ted Luz, run off to Cancun, saying that your daughters needed to see you on a vacation. Well, they could have waited till you get there after you started the situation. If you
Fled
want to,
Cruz, as they call him.
Fred Cruz, man, Fred Flintstone, man. This shit look like
That's
he does look like Fred Flintstone in my opinion. But man, what's your opinion on Teddy man and Gary running away, man? That's what really has me upset.
Ted, the situation with Ted was obviously a poor decision. It wasn't good for optics as well, obviously. But the question that you got to ask yourself is, what can Ted Cruz do? He's just a representative for those people out in that area. There isn't much that he can do other than um, basic politician stuff. So it was insensitive, of course. It was poorly timed. It was stupid. So all of those things it was. But at the same time, I think that the media in the US was just playing it out a bit too much. I don't know if you guys were following it, but I think I can't remember who it was. I can't remember which news agency, if it was NBC or CNN, somebody or a newspaper, but somebody decided that they were going to send what is called a journalist over there to check on his dog, the poodle that they left behind. just so that they can write a story. To me, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's ridiculous.
Especially with that situation. Like Andrew Cuomo genuinely out there threatening people within the Democratic Party. He's threatening people in the Democratic Party. And not only that, he was responsible for the deaths of thousands of individuals through COVID. And not only did he think he received an award for it, and the man wrote a book about it.
Mhm.
And all of this happened around the same thing that Ted Cruz was doing. He's saying, not saying that they should have talked about Ted Cruz, but the amount of attention that's being paid on something on that is just, to me, is too much. Maybe that's just me.
I get
Maybe
where you're coming
that's just
from,
me.
but
But
I mean,
of course, his actions were horrendous.
mhm,
Don't go. If people like to see, and I think that's a problem that Trump experienced, and that's why people like Obama more than they like Trump, because people want to hear their leaders say the right things,
mhm,
and they want to see their leaders do the right thing. And Ted Cruz and the other guy, the same guy that went to Florida is the one who made the comment as well. I can't remember because it was one that made a long post and then resigned. I can't remember his name,
yeah,
but all of those
I
things
think
are
it's Gary
important.
Gets, Gary Gets, yeah.
Yeah, like people don't people want to know that I'm suffering with you.
Mhm,
This individual that I put in is suffering with me. That's what people want to know. And to me, when you decide that I can take up my money and I can move my family to Cancun
mhm,
because of the cold weather, to me that's ridiculous.
yeah, yeah.
It is.
Mm.
Mm,
All right,
More than most, man.
all
We've
right,
had it.
guys. I think we had a pretty good show. Um, Thanks to Teegue for coming on.
yeah, man, it's just regular. It just is saying annoying. But
And one last time before you go, Teague, plug your show.
yeah, the Political Refugees podcast episode. I'm here looking episode that I'm gonna publish right now on climate change. So you guys could go and listen to that if you're listening to this. And of course we're on all your streaming platforms, all your podcast streaming platforms. There's no video as yet, but all your podcast streaming platforms. So Apple, Google, Spotify. I can't remember the others. They're a whole set. They're a whole set. So whichever one you use, chances are we're on there, and you could catch up on our episodes every Sunday. And of course, look at our check out our Facebook and our Twitter. That's at two Pole Refugees two, the number two POLREFUGEES. And of course, when we post new episodes, we're gonna put the information up there so that you guys could click on it and listen. So yeah,
All right,
Hmm.
thank you, Teague. Kev, another good show.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on, man.
yeah, man. We had a good one, man. Yeah, not easy, man. Anytime, you know that.
Yeah, all right, guys. I don't want to promise it, but we're trying to be more consistent. In
Yeah.
the future, we'll be slacking off a little bit. That's unfair criticism. So hopefully, next couple of months, or I don't know, if next week will be good, but maybe the following week after that, we'll probably have another show. Some people also said they wanted to chime in on these topics, especially with the global warming and the vaccine. So if y'all want to hear that conversation with some other guests, just let me know in the comment section, or you could message me privately. You could also follow me on my on my dead Twitter and Bartlett Talks. And what about you, Kev? You on Twitter, Kev?
No, no. You know this.
All right.
if Kevin got Twitter, it's just for following women.
React
We
to
know
Twitter.
what
Nah, I actually don't have a Twitter, man.
Uh,
I can create one. Yeah.
all right, guys. So as I said, if you want to get in contact with me, it's Bartlett Talks on Twitter. Um, and we see you all next week or whenever.
Yeah. Mhm.